sometimes it will be very smaller. So let me know if the screen is too small, so that I can increase the screen size. Okay, you can start the recording, Saib. Okay, and I'll just make this full screen. Started. Okay. So good evening, guys. So this is our first class for 2026, and today's so we're gonna start with Postgres, okay? And we have earlier finished our Python basics, and I've also shared the some tutorials with you guys. A basic, it's a basic. That is what we have learned last 3 weeks. I mean, sorry, 3 months in November, October, and September. And I just want you guys to just focus on that, because after Postgres we're going to start with machine learning, Python. Okay, Python is a must. So why I'm stressing on Python is you're going to learn on some of the packages that are available for ingesting, okay, ingestion of data from various sources like Postgres, Oracle, uh, from the websites also. If you want to uh, scrape some data from the website, you need to have that knowledge. Okay, there are different packages are there for different requirement. We can use those packages in our program, and then we can uh, ingest those data, and then we can transform that data, and then we can do the analytical part of it later, and then we can do some inference on the data. Okay, so for this session, we're going to start with Postgres. So I'm going to start from very basics, baby steps. Okay, so we'll see on the installation part, and we'll see how to configure the Postgres, and then how to log in, and how to um, uh, import some dummy data into the Postgres, and then we will uh, learn on those data. And also we'll do some customization of tables and database also for your learning. Okay, so first in first, what is Postgres? Okay, so I mean, right, there are different products are available in the market, right? From Microsoft SQL is there, Oracle, uh, MySQL, Postgres, okay, MongoDB. So these are all database. Okay, so what is the role of a database? Okay, in simple term, a database, I can say, is a repository for storing information. Like in your house, you have some storeroom. What is the use of storeroom? You store some stuff there, right? Like suitcase or whatever. Okay. So similarly, database is the repository for storing information. And what does it allow you to do? To store data from various sources. Okay, what are those sources? It could be external, it could be website, or it could be a manual way, like you are adding some data into the database. Okay, like EDA operator. Okay, or MIS, okay, management information operator, who collects data from various organizations like marketing, sales, okay, and operations, and then he will input his data on a daily basis in the morning, and then that data can be projected on a dashboard where your leadership team can look at what was the sale, okay, what was the production, um, uh, a status till yesterday, and all. You can view that. Okay, so there are different categories of work that you can make use of with this databases. Okay, So typically, where does the database store? On a hard disk. Okay, it could be if you are running SQL on a server, it is stored on a cloud or wherever you are storing those database. Okay, data. So database store data on hard drive. So what is the and how does it help is it help us to allow for later retrieval or update. So it's not one way. Okay, always for example, if you are using a database, it is not one way, like you have to just store data, but you also retrieve the data from the database to look at some historic data or whatever means it could be, right? So why Postgres? Okay, why Postgres? Okay, why Postgres? Okay, so Postgres often referred to as Postgres. Okay, it's a free and open source relational database. It's a free and open source relational database. Okay, and we also call it as RDBMS. Okay, relational database management system. We'll see what is RDBMS in shortly. Okay, why we called it as RDBMS and what is the difference between DBMS and RDBMS. Okay, so in RDBMS, and yeah, these are the definition. SQL stands for structured query language. Okay, now what is the structure? You can write in a simple English statement to retrieve the data from a database. Okay, and also it lets you access and manipulate database. Okay, what do you mean by manipulate? We have something called CRUD operation, CRUD. Okay, I'll cover that also later. CRUD, C stands for create, R stands for retrieve, U stands for update, D stands for delete. Okay, so when you have a database, just assume you have an Excel sheet. Okay, in Excel sheet, what do you do? Okay, first you'll write some project details, and then as and whenever you need to update, delete some data, you will delete, and then you will add some new content, right? Similarly, here also we have CRUD operation similar to that. So it's called CRUD. We'll go into the detail later on. What is CRUD and what are the commands each parameter uses there to retrieve, update, delete, and create your data. Okay. So SQL lets you access and manipulate database, and this is a standard for ANSI in 1986. Okay, and these are the ISO standards followed by most of the organizations today. Okay, so like I said, what is database? These are the definition container that help you organize data. Okay, it's a way to efficiently store and retrieve data. It's a collection of data and it's a tabular format. This is very important. Okay, tabular format. Now data are three types. Okay, structured, semi-structured, and non-structured. Okay, now what is structured data? Structured data, any data that is in the form of tabular format in rows and columns, we call it as structured. Semi-structured, now you might have seen the JSON files, JSON and the Parquet files, right? So these are all semi-structured. So where you will see some of the elements, it's like a dictionary format. If you have learned those Python classes that I have shared, you have those basics there. Okay, structured, semi-structured, and unstructured is something like a log files. Okay, similarly you take a system logs. Okay, it's unstructured, you have to go through, it's not in rows and columns. Okay, you have to you have to capture each logs by the events, okay, that are generated, and then you will troubleshoot accordingly. Similarly, when you have unstructured data, but nowadays you have a lot of tools where you can convert your unstructured data into a structured format, and then later on you can utilize those data for your analysis. Okay, data is very important. You can create your dashboards, you can create your analysis, you can create your nice uh, uh, what do you call it, inference on the data, whether you want to take some decision based on these data. Okay, sales, if the sales is dipping, what is the next course of action? Okay, it gives you all the insights about your data. Okay, insight about your uh, business. So anything that is in the rows and columns. Okay. So these RDBMS database stores everything in rows and columns. Okay. And these are predominantly large data storage. Okay. In petabyte or more than that. So in RDBMS, data is organized into multiple related tables. Okay, table called tables. For example, you can have a table to store product details, and in another table you can have another table to store invoices. Okay, if you see Amazon. Okay, Amazon has different tables. One is for user login, then product catalog, then cart catalog, and then offer database. Okay, offer tables. Okay, wherever there are offers, if you click on that link, it will show all the offers details on Amazon site, and then you can pick whatever you want, and you can push those into a cart, and from their cart, it will take you to the another table which is called payment table. Okay, so why they have divided all these things into a smaller uh, uh, tables is, if everything is created in one table, okay, you have million of records, million trillion of records. What happens is it will slow down. Okay, when multiple users are um, accessing your website, right? Sometimes in the backend, it might give you some hiccups with slowness and all that. That is the reason why we have this concept called break into pieces. Okay, so we don't create anything in one block. So we create in a small blocks, and then we will create all these joins. So you will also learn about joins, left join, right join. Okay, so and you can retrieve the data. So, so this is about database. Clear, guys, so far? Yes, no?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
Shivam. Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. And also Postgres is famous for its robustness, performance, and flexibility. Okay, nowadays people are moving away from paid subscription to free. Okay, so this one MongoDB, then MySQL, then you have another one called what is that I use? DuckDB. Okay, so there are a lot of tools are coming. Okay, and there is another one called Chroma. Okay, Chroma is also very famous nowadays, but those are all database that are used in uh, machine learning and AI activities and all to store some data. Okay, in a binary format. Binary means zero and ones. Okay, if you have an image, for example, this image that you see elephant on the right hand side, right? If I want to store this image in a database, right, how it stores is it stores in a binary format. Okay, so there are different databases that are famous for different activities. Okay, so if I want to use something like image repository database, right? So I'll choose MongoDB or Chroma, or there are other also. Okay, and there are other database called NoSQL. Okay, so what is the difference between SQL and NoSQL? SQL is a RDBMS where you have tabular format data in a form of rows and columns. NoSQL is used for logs kind of data. Okay, those who are familiar with the system logs. Okay, I mean it's very gibberish. The data when you open in your event viewer, you see very gibberish, right, with the event data and all, but it doesn't give you any proper format there, right? So you can use different database for different purpose. So you have NoSQL, then you have only for graph database, there is one, okay, where you can store these type of pictures there, and these are not stored by uh, uh, picture is, I mean, picture, I mean, when you're storing all these things, it doesn't store in a actual format. It stores, it breaks into binary. Okay, so it will create some binary number like 1000345, some internally, and it stores. Okay, and whenever you retrieve, you will see the picture. Okay, when you retrieve, you will see the picture, but physically it breaks down the image into binary format and it stores in a database so that it can accommodate. And why binary? When you are retrieving large data, right, it will be quick. If it is an image, it has to read the image vector size by size, okay, whether it's elephant or not, or it's a dog or it's something else, right? It takes time. So that is why we have different type of database in the market for different purpose. Okay, so what SQL can do? Okay, everybody knows, you guys have most of you heard about the SQLs, right? So those who are not aware, so these are the some of the steps that you can follow. Okay, you can execute queries against database, retrieve data. Okay, you can insert records, you can update, you can delete, you can create a new database, you can create a new table, you can create a store procedure. Store procedure is like an automated you do some automation, right, repeated work. So similarly we have something called store procedures here in database as well, so where you will write a query and you will schedule that. So whenever you need, like for example, indexing, right, you have millions of records. Okay, on every Saturday, okay, after 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock night, right, you want to do indexing, you will write it in a store procedure and you will leave it, and you will schedule it on a Saturday, so it will run on a scheduled time and it will do its job. And if there are any errors, you can look at those in a logs or in a report. Okay, you can create views. Okay, what is views? Instead of giving access to the direct data, I mean table, I'll create a view. Okay, it's like a shadow. Okay, shadow of my actual table, but still you can see the table. I can create views. Why what is the benefit of views is, say for example, I have three database. Okay, sorry, not database, tables. Employee table, okay, system table, and promotion table. I have three tables. Okay, you are given a task here to find out who got promoted this year and who is left out. Okay, so all these data are not stored in one table, these are stored in three different tables. What I'll do is I'll create a views, a temporary shadow or a temporary table. Okay, this will stay forever. Okay, so I'll create the table and give you access to you guys. You can just click on it, it will show all the details. Okay, so you cannot query there, you cannot query there. Whatever the default view that I'm going to create with the tables, columns, names, okay, those only it will pull. Because in some tables, right, you will have some crucial information, right, sensitive data about employee ID, SSN number, their age, their mobile number and all, right. So I cannot give access to entire table, I'll give you partly. So I can create views. Okay, views is like a shadow file where you will see only limited data. That is where these guys give you the limited view of the data. Okay, most of the companies, they will not give the full access, so only few are full access, one or two people will have in the entire organization. And that too, they are monitored 24/7 whenever they log in. So automatic, there is a trigger that kicks in and that checks what data is pulling, what query is writing and all that. Okay, so SQL can set permission on table, procedure, and views. Permission means what kind of permission? Do you have the permission to only view or only add? If I give the permission to you guys, three of you, to add in a table, so you guys can do only that kind of job. Okay, and delete means, I mean, you can delete rows, not a table. I'll never give a permission to delete a table. Instead, I'll give a permission to delete rows. Okay, so these are uh, some of the things that you can do in SQL. Okay, coming back to RDBMS, like I said, RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management. Okay, and this is the basis for SQL. Okay, and for all modern database, like I mentioned, SQL, Microsoft SQL, IBM, Oracle, MySQL, and Microsoft Access, right? So these are all RDBMS type. Okay, so the data that you see, these are in the form of rows and columns. But if you have experienced with no SQL, that's a different. Okay, that's a unstructured data. Okay, so and in the second, third bullet point, you can see it's a structured data. Whenever we say structured, rows and columns, remember, okay, and relational of tables. Like I said, there is an employee table, there is a department table, and there is a performance table. Okay, so in employee table, I'll have employee name, employee ID, employee name, and employee details, house address, mobile number, email, personal, and all those things. Okay, location. And in what was the other employee department? Okay, which department he belongs to? Okay, finance, uh, e-commerce, marketing, support, operations, sales. Okay, so department code will be there. Okay, so when I want to pull the information about employee called XYZ with all these details, I have to add those two tables. Okay, two table, and then where employee is equal to this, and it will fetch all the detail about that employee. So we break things into tables. Okay, so it is easy to manage. One example, one I can say is easy to manage your table. Okay, why? Because if everything is in one table, you cannot mask. Okay, what do you mean by mask? There are some crucial and critical information in your database for certain employees, right? Every employee has some details like SSN, other details that cannot be exposed outside. Okay, and all the data in RDBMS is stored in database that is called tables. Okay, a tables is a collection of related data entries. Okay, data entries means rows. You will have rows like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and the entire data when it is populated, it comes in the form of columns and rows. So columns is your heading, same like Excel. Same, you get a heading, and below that you get your data rows. Okay, so this is same. Okay, and see in database management, also this is a very good point. In relational database management system, when you organize your data into tables, these can be related to each other using a primary keys, foreign keys, and other constraint. I'll come I'll explain this in the upcoming classes when we are creating a tables and all. But for now, I'll give you a simple example is what is primary keys are is, say for example, you have a employee table. In employee table, first column is employee ID, then employee first name, employee last name, employee email, and employee location. Okay, these are the four columns are there. Okay, in employee ID, say for example, my employee starts with S001. Okay, and then size starts with S002, Ishwar S003. Okay, likewise it creates a unique keys. Okay, when you have in a table, when you have one column that is unique, okay, which will help us identify the uniqueness of data, we call this as a primary key. So there are some rules for tables. Okay, you need to have one primary key so that you can identify your data uniquely. Otherwise, if there are two people with the same ID, like for example S002, S002 for two people, obviously that is incorrect, right? So we say always use a primary keys to keep your data unique. So you will see in big companies, enterprises, and all the database that they maintain, right, for employee and for other activities, you will see one column as primary key, which has to be unique. Okay, you cannot have redundancy there. Okay, duplicate data, mismatch of data. Okay, so this is one example for see, I have a table called here employee table and employee salary, employee ID, first name, last name, department. Okay, this is employee ID, department, and salary. If you see here, I have four columns here, and in salary I have only three columns. So what is unique here is employee ID, and employee ID. If I want to see the salary of John, what I can do is I can say select star from employee table, join table employee salary, where employee ID is equal to 001. It will fetch this unique value with all these columns. All these columns, all these rows, sorry, not columns, all these rows and this row. Okay. And whenever you have a reference of this is primary key for this table. When this primary key is again added into other table salary, okay, and okay, we call this as common ID in both table, and we refer this as a foreign key. Okay, this is primary key, this is foreign key, okay, in another table. So it will help us to give a reference of employee ID 001 John, and fetch the details. And if I want to fetch the finance department also, I can fetch from which department he is. Okay, it says already finance, but you do the department, finance, procurement, or whatever. In finance also we have different segments, right? So you can find out. Okay, these are all very basics. Okay, so in one table, just forget about this table. One table, if you have one unique ID, we call this as primary key. Primary key. Okay, and when this reference is there in other table, it is called foreign key. Okay, using this reference from other table also, you can fetch the data by joining these two tables. Okay, so this is again uh, what do you call details about that I've already discussed here. So every table is broken up into smaller entities called fields. Okay, so fields in Excel, you have fields where you enter your data, right? Similarly here also, we called it as field. It's the same concept, guys. You have to relate with Excel or some other application so that you can understand the concepts. Okay, the fields in the customer table consist of customer ID. Okay, so this is just an example. You have customer ID, name, contact name, address, and all these are called fields. Okay, in Excel, what do you call column name, right? So similarly here we called it as fields. Okay, different application will have different naming convention here. Okay, a field is a column in a table that is designed to maintain specific information about every record. For example, postal code. Okay, if I have something called postal code generally refers to a numeric number, right? 5 digit or 6 digit. So you have to tell, when you create a table, you have to tell postal code, whatever the data we enter, it has to be numeric. It cannot take non-numeric. Okay, we'll learn those when we are learning to create a table. Okay, what are the data types like integer, string, then float, okay, a big int, all that we will learn when we are creating a, these are just the basics. Country, you know, it's a string, right? You can give 25 string of field for this country, and it will store anything, country name that which stands within 25 letters. Okay, it goes above, beyond that it will throw an error. Okay, so you have to design your database also very wisely. Okay, so whatever the database you learn, I mean table you are creating, try with logic here. Okay, customer ID, you can have a 6 digit, 5 digit, okay, whatever your company norms are. Okay, if it starts generally with the company code, like you have Microsoft, it will start with M. Okay, and location, what is the location of India? Something internal number will be there like 0012. Okay, and then followed by your employee ID 1122 something. Okay, that is your customer ID. Customer name, contact name, address. Okay, address, you have to allow alphanumeric string. Okay, because in address you'll see numeric as well as strings, right? So you have to design. So we'll also learn about the designing our database. Okay, and a field is a column designed to maintain specific info. This is what I was telling. So whenever you create your fields, columns, you have to design it properly. What type of data it will take. Okay, and what is a record? Okay, a record is a row. Okay, in our previous example, so this is a record. This is a record. Okay, so a record is also called a row, and each individual entry that exists in a table. For example, there are 91 records in the above customer table. A record is a horizontal entity in a database. Okay, horizontal means down to, not vertical, horizontal, sideways. Okay, from left to right, not up and down. A column is a vertical entity in a table that contains all information with a specific field in a table. Means your column names and labels. Okay, this is the example. Okay, so this is your column. This is your one row. Okay, this is second row. This is one row. This is second row. Okay, so horizontal. Okay, vertical is column. These labels that you see, these are your labels vertically. Okay. Okay. Okay, guys. Now, what we'll do is we'll also learn about Postgres installation. Okay, it's pretty simple. Okay, pretty simple. I'm assuming you guys are on Windows. Okay, even if you're on Mac, it's very simple. I'll just guide you. I don't have a Mac right now. I have a Windows, so I'll guide you. If you encounter anything with your Mac, please let me know. Okay, I'll help you out with the installation. Okay, so now we have something called Postgres SQL. You can utilize across application, ranging from small scale project to large enterprise systems. Okay, now to work with Postgres database, you need a client program. Okay, there is a client that we will use to connect to our database, and then we will give instruction through that client. Okay, now there are many types of Postgres SQL clients are available in the market. Okay, it's a free, you don't have to pay not even a single penny. It's all open source, like desktop application, web application, and then you have common not common, command line interface, CLI programs. Okay, so you can whichever program or interface you are comfortable with, you can install it. Okay, and once you install this Postgres SQL client program, right, and then we will connect to our database, which is Postgres SQL server. So we have to install two modules. One is server module and one is on client. Okay, you can install on the same application. Okay, if you have a remote desktop, I mean you have a desktop or another system, you can install the server on the desktop, and then using a client on your laptop you can connect. Okay, the only thing that you have to remember is the IP address of that desktop, so that you can connect to the server, Postgres server. Okay, so this is actually day to tomorrow. So I'll show, we still have time, 8:42. I'll show you. One sec. How do we install? So basically we'll go to Postgres download page. Okay, so this is the page, guys, where we have to go. I'll share this link. Uh, okay, I have shared in a chat. So please save it, or tomorrow you can install it. Okay, it's pretty simple. Okay, so here on the download page, if you see, we have different flavors here: Linux, Mac, Windows, BSD, and Solaris. Okay, whichever environment you are working on. Okay, I'm assuming most of you are on Windows. Okay, if you're on Mac, you can go download the PKG file or DMG file, and then you can just follow the instruction. You just make sure you have to be on, you have to be admin on that box to install. Otherwise, it will pop for a username and password. Okay, so I'll click on Windows. Okay, so here it will show you the version. So what are the versions are available? Okay, so this is the current 2025 2022. Okay, so this is the correct version, which is the latest version of Postgres. Okay, 18. So I think I have installed 16 or 17. Let me hop onto my box here. Okay, I don't have it. I have SQL here. Okay. Okay, I have not installed it, but no problem. We'll just install the latest version that is available. Okay, and we will we'll download it from this link where it says download the installer. Okay, and then you have to say agree and proceed. And this is the latest version 18.1. I think I have installed 16 or 17. I don't recall. I don't see it on my box. Maybe I have uninstalled. I don't know. That's okay. Okay, so we have Windows 18.1 and it doesn't support 32-bit. Okay, just make sure the latest version of Windows and your processor supports 64. If you are using old devices, the XP one or those hardware, right, it will not work because 32, most of the uh, companies have stopped building 32-bit application. Okay, it's all standard 64-bit. Okay, just make sure you download the correct version, and then you have something called installation guide also. Okay, I'll just open it up in a new window. In my case, I want, where is Windows? Okay, here. Okay, he is installing on Windows Server 2019. That's okay. You can install on client device also. I mean, there is no hard and fast rule that you have to have a server. Okay, this is just for a learning purpose. But when you get access to in some company, right? Basically, the actual installation are done on server. Okay, so this is the screenshot. I'll just copy this and I'll put it for now in a chat. Okay. So what we'll do is I'll just install it and then I'll show you how it works out. Okay. Are you guys able to see my screen?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
No.
Now it is
No,
blank screen.
it's blank.
Now.
No.
No, sir. It's same. It's blank.
1 minute, guys. You guys should have told me before that you're not seeing my screen. 1 minute. I'll share it again. Okay. Now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, we
visible,
are able
sir.
to see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Now, can you see this window also?
yeah, yes.
Okay. So you guys have to open up, guys. Okay. If you're not able to see, let me know. Okay. I don't know what happened in between. Uh, okay. So I'll go and type. So I'm installing on a remote desktop. I have another desktop. I'm not installing on my laptop. This is my desktop, and this is the configuration I have. Okay. So I have a CPU of 12 Gen, i7, memory 128 GB. Okay. Disk is 1 TB and Wi-Fi, GPU, and I have external GPU, which is 1 minute, NVIDIA. Yeah, I have 8 GB. Okay, so I'm using this desktop because my laptop is very this thing, and what do you call it, with less computation. Okay, it's a old model, so even if I install, I can install, but I'll see some hiccups, sound, and all when I run the Postgres and all. So I prefer using my desktop. Okay, so first thing first, I'll click on Postgres download, and then the first link that you get in your results, it goes to Postgres SQL. Okay, this is the link that you have to look. I have already shared in WhatsApp. Just make sure you follow the screen. Then I'll click on Windows since I'm on Windows, and then I'll click on download the installer, and I'll agree and proceed. And I need 18.1, and which one? Windows 64-bit. Okay, I'll click on it, and then it's asking me to, do you want to save? Okay, I'll say save. I'll save it in I'll save it in download folder, and the size of file is 354 MB, not big. Okay, so you can just follow it right now, don't install. Later on tomorrow you do it. Okay, so right now it is installed, so I'll go to the folder, I'll run this. Okay, so it is installing some VC++ libraries, so which is inbuilt to the installer. I am not installing all these things. When I started this execution cycle, it is installing VC++. Maybe these are the requirements that it is looking for. Maybe it is not installed on my desktop. Let me 2019, 2022. This one is 2022. Okay, maybe it is installed the latest version. Okay, yeah, these two are installed 19.1, 19.1. Today's date with the timestamp here. So these two are installed here, and now it is going through the Postgres setup routine. Okay, just minimize this, and then I'll click I'll click next. Okay, so in the next screen it asks for installation directory. So this is a default directory. I'll go for it. Okay, if you have a D drive or E drive, if you have multiple drives in your laptop or desktop, right? It's up to you. Okay, you can install it. Just make sure that is that drive that you are installing. It's not a detachable drive. Like what I mean is you have a pen drive or external hard disk, right? USB A type or C type, you connect to your laptop and then you back up your data. Okay, if it is something like that, drive that you are attaching every time, okay, just make sure don't install. It will corrupt. I have done that before, so I saw some corruption and it was not reading properly, and again I have to reload it on my laptop only. Okay, so this is the default program files, Postgres, and 18 is the folder that it will create. And these are all the default application that comes along with this. Okay, stack builder, command line tools, PG admin. So PG admin will be your day-to-day tool to connect to your Postgres, and this is your server. Okay, application that it's gonna load on this laptop. So it will create another one called data. Okay. So whatever the data, the database creates tables, right? Or database. Okay. So it will be stored in this folder called data. Okay. So if you want to backup, if you're doing some migration and all, right, go to this folder, whatever the dumps are there, take it and make a copy of it somewhere in a different location, so that even if a migration fails or something happens with your data, right, you can retrieve your data back, or you can restore your database back with those files. Okay. So these installation files, if you are familiar with, it will definitely help in the maintenance phase. Okay, now it's time for to set up password. I'll just give a simple 12345. Okay, because this is a local, I'm not installing on a cloud or anything, it's on my local desktop. Okay, I'll give 12345 and then I'll go, and this is the default port that it utilizes. Okay, which is 5432, reverse of 2345. Okay, so if anybody asks you in interview what is the port, default port the Postgres use, 2345. Okay, and this is the default new database cluster default. You can create 1 2 3 or 4 5. See, we have a lot of names here, so I'll just leave it with the default and I'll continue. Okay, and then these are the location and services that it gonna create. I'll just go. No. Okay, we'll just continue another 10 minutes installation, and then I'll launch it and I'll connect it. Okay, while this is installing, okay, anybody who worked on database before, or this is the first time for everybody?
First time, student.
First time, okay. So tomorrow, what I'll do is in the next session, I'll just walk you through in the database what are the options we have in the menu, okay, and basics things. Okay, so if you're familiar with all the basics, then I think you will learn quickly with the next steps. Okay, creating table and applying all those CRUD operations, and how to import our external Excel sheet or CSV file. Okay, so I'll just walk you through. You can download sample data from Kaggle site. So Kaggle is very famous for database and data sets are there, sample for testing and learning purpose, educational purpose. So create an account for yourself in Kaggle, Kaggle, Kaggle site, okay, which is very important for learning on different data sets. Okay, so Kaggle, just go to kaggle.com and then you sign in with your Gmail, whichever Gmail account that you're using. Okay, so you get a lot of data sets here. Okay, these are all data sets. This is where you have to practice. Okay, if you just work with one data set, it will not help you out. You have ample data here, different data sets. Okay, and you have all data sets, computer science, education, classification, marketing. If you need a marketing data, okay, just type marketing campaign, analytics, bank marketing. So you have data sets. If you are looking, if you work on a different vast data like this, definitely it will also help you with getting some hands-on with those data sets. Okay, let me just type Postgres sample database. Okay, so you have a sample database called some Pagila, and the right hand side you can see it says bronze, silver, and gold. Okay, whenever you see gold means that means the data is very clean and ready for your utilization. That is how I pick up. Okay, you can take this data also. No, I mean it's up to you guys. So I go with gold data here on the right hand side that you see. Okay, you have German football scores. It's a bronze data. Okay, so it's all in JSON format. Okay, there is only one data here. So where is the download option? Download option. Yeah, you have a download here. Okay, you can download here, and then you can import those files into. Okay, in summary, you have a SQL also .SQL. Whenever you create any table, it is stored in a different format. Okay, the extension. Okay, we'll see all those things one by one. Okay, so just make sure you just hop onto this site and make yourself familiar with the data. Okay, so data is very important, and if you work with one data, it will not help you out. You need to work on multiple data sets. Multiple data sets. Okay, so let's go back and see where were we with the installation. Okay, so it's almost done. So there are two components for Postgres. One is Postgres server and the PG admin, right? So nowadays, earlier, what I've seen is earlier means version 16 and before, the whatever the versions these guys have released, right? So you have to download both separately, okay? But the beauty of this installer is they have added everything or they have clubbed everything in one installer. So you don't have to again go back and install the Postgres client to connect to your database. Okay. Yeah, it is done. So it's saying Stack Builder may be used to download and install addition driver applicable. So I'll uncheck this right now. Okay. And then as finished, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Finish. Done. Okay, so first step is done. So let's go and see. Let's browse through our Postgres. One minute. I'll go to the folder directly. Tool. All view category. I'll go with list. Okay. I'll click on this. I'll go to post P. Okay. So in the menu, you can look for PG admin, or I think my settings are messed up here. I'll just correct this. Great. Even if I go to PPP, there is P. Okay, in P, I'm not able to see this. Not sure if I have to reboot my books. Just give me 1 minute. I'll quickly reboot and come. Okay, so this is the remote box. It will not disconnect our. Okay, and the same process is for installing on Mac. If anybody has a Mac, okay, you can download and you can start installing. You just follow these screens here, and then you can follow the installation. Okay, Mac OS, Windows, okay, and this is the requirement hardware. Minimum it should be 1 GHz, 2 GB of RAM, and 512 GB of hard disk. Okay, 512 MB, not GB, MB. Okay, so this is the minimum requirement. And when you install on Mac, you will get a format called the DMG file, the installation file. You can just follow the instruction to install. Okay, and this is pretty much okay. So let me see if my PC is up. Okay, I'm logging in back to my desktop. Okay, now I can see a Postgres SQL 18 folder is created. So you need a reboot is must. Okay, if you don't reboot, it will not show up. Okay, that is what happened in my case. I was looking for this application. We'll just go through here, and here you will see this bunch of applications. So we are interested. These are all the documentation, and this is your command line utility, just like command prompt to interact with your database. And this is installation, this is application builder, stack builder, and this is where we have to launch the Postgres pg admin. Okay, so pg admin, through pg admin you will connect your database. First time it takes a couple of minutes to configure. Okay, and from next time and all, it opens up really very quick. So it happened the same with other versions also, what I have noticed. So it takes some time to launch first installation, after installation first time. Okay, later on it will stabilize. Okay, password previously saved or re-encrypted encryption key may be stored in Windows key. Okay, okay. So right now, okay, I have two database. This is previous, I guess. I was using this server. I don't need this. Okay, 18. Okay, because the version that I have installed is 18. So I'll expand this. Okay, it's asking for a password. Okay, now the password that I gave during installation is what you have to enter here. So in my case, it's 12345. Simple. Okay, now it's connected. When it connects, it will show these three folders. Okay, so this is your pane. This is your pane, complete pane. How it looks like. On the left, you have all this uh, server detail. This is called Object Explorer, and this is called your menu. You will have a query menu and a result menu. Okay, I'll show you. Okay, I'll expand this, and then this is a default table, or I can say this is a default Postgres database that is created when we are installing, right? So I just want to show, don't get confused here. Okay, what am I opening and all? I'll show you the next classes. Okay, nothing is created here. Okay, so that is the reason we are not getting anything. But so after installing, you should be able to see all these things. Okay, and I will create my database called demo. Okay, and then who is the owner? Postgres. Okay, so this is the default account that you will find Postgres, and again you have a different roles here. RBAC, role based access control. So if you want to give only the read access, you can set a read access. I'll show you the permission level also later on. Okay, so definition UTF-8, this is the default, don't mess with any of this. Security, just leave as it is. Parameter, advanced, and SQL. Okay, so we are not going to change anything, just we'll give our name of the database and I'll say save. So demo database is created. Okay, so this is my demo database. And most of the time you will see under database these hierarchies. Okay, well, I'll explain all this in the upcoming classes, what are these and what are used. Most of the time we'll get into this schemas. Okay, all the time we'll get into schemas. Under schemas is where you will see your tables. Okay, right now we don't have any table. Okay, so right now we don't have any table. So 1 minute, restore. Okay, so I have just restored some sample data. I just want to show, don't get confused. I'm going to teach you all these things and just want to show the pains or what are the pains that we get here. Okay, now you see I've just uploaded some sample data and these are the tables that I can see here. If I want to see actor table, what I can do is, so I don't want to create, it's already created, right? It's already created. These are the columns. These are the triggers, rules for this table, indexes. Everything is created. Okay. So we'll understand these also. So all rows. Okay. So now whatever you see at the top, okay, this is your query editor. Okay. And this is a result pane. Whatever the results you are typing, you'll see the results here. Okay. So I just ran this without writing any command here if I want to, and also here you see here the menu here top, what is this is called, here you have to select your database. Okay, so if you have multiple database you can use multiple database, at times you have to click here and you have to select. Okay, right now it is selected here only, so we don't have to worry about it. If I want to see what is there in film table. Okay, so what is a simple command query that I can write is, okay, and then you select this, you have a execute F5. Okay, you can see here I have all the rows and records. Okay, so how many rows I have? Total 1000 rows, and the time it took is millisecond is 218. Okay, and this is our first basics, guys. I'm telling you, very basics, just learn. And then and tomorrow I'll share the data also, so we'll go according to our content, the PPT. Okay, how to create and first installation. Okay, don't worry about all these things, I'll show you all these things again multiple times. I'll show you, not a problem. Okay, but you need to understand what is this public. Okay, what is private. Okay, private means only few people have access, public means anybody can access. So these are the same basic fundamentals, differences are there for a database that you need to understand. Okay, so we have catalogs, event triggers, so these I mean we never use it, so mostly we use schema. Okay, so if I want to delete this, what can I do? I can just right click on it. I can say uh, drop, create backup, that is delete, drop, I think drop. Okay, are you sure you want to drop this database? I'll say drop. Okay, so you're not getting any prompt here, but database is accessed by other user, one reason session. Okay, right now this session is working, that is the reason it is not allowing me to drop. Okay, I don't want to save, so I am out of session and then I am dropping force. It's just like same like guys, you do this task manager, right? Forcefully killing the process, backend process and all, same thing. Okay, done. If I refresh, I'll not see that table. Okay, that database is gone. Okay, So I'll teach you all these basics tomorrow. Okay, but you have to familiarize yourself, play around with all these basics. Okay, if you master SQL, okay, so I mean there are a lot of job opportunities available for you. Okay, nowadays database is what they use in the backend everywhere. Okay, even for analytics. Okay, say for example you have a Grafana or New Relic, you need to fetch data, right? It could be Excel, it could be G Suite, it could be database. So if you learn database, later on the other uh, parameter that you're going to use for connecting, right? Those will be easy task for you guys. Okay, I think we are on top of the hour, guys. We will close this session today. You can stop the recording, Saib. Okay, so tomorrow once you create that thing,